Imagine a mask falls from someone's face, hits the floor, and breaks into many pieces. That is the sound you hear when a narcissist shows who they really are. It is also the sound that creates the strongest version of a hurt empath. You might still think that when an empath loses everything, love, trust, respect, and even their own identity, they will fall apart and stay broken forever. But that is not true. The truth is harder, but also more beautiful. That is exactly the moment when a new kind of strength is born. To understand this, you first need to know the person who brought you there. A narcissist never looks like a monster. In fact, to others, they seem perfect. They are charming, confident, calm, and healthy. Everyone admires them. They are the coworker everyone likes, the friend everyone trusts, and the partner others say you are lucky to have. But their perfect mask stays in place only until you touch one of their deep wounds. This happens when you say no, when you set a boundary, when you stop giving them constant praise, or when you accidentally harm their perfect image. In that moment, their true face shows up, cold, empty, and full of anger. Here is the cruel part. The whole world sees only the mask. You are the only one who sees what is behind it. So when you try to tell others, no one believes you. They say you imagined it. They say you are too sensitive. Slowly, you start to doubt yourself. Your world falls apart, not just because of what they did, but because you lose trust in your own feelings. You lose the relationship, your self-respect, your direction, and worst of all, you lose yourself. But here is what no one told you. You were not broken because you were weak. You were chosen because you had a strength the narcissist could never have. You knew how to love, give, and feel deeply. They were drawn to your light because they had only darkness inside. The only way they knew to have that light was to put it out. But they forgot one rule. The same pressure that crushes stone is also what makes diamonds. When an empath is pushed to the bottom and loses everything, something strange happens. They have nothing left to lose. And that means nothing can threaten them anymore. At that point, their sensitivity, which was once used against them, turns into something new. It becomes clear vision that sees through lies. It becomes strong boundaries that cannot be moved. It becomes a calm strength that makes manipulation useless. This is the version of you the narcissist never expected. And they can never reach this version again. What the world calls broken was never the end. You were not shattered. You were opened so that light could finally come in. In this video, I will show you what happens after the mask falls, why losing everything can become the start of your greatest strength, and how no one will ever make you doubt yourself again. Part 1. The Trap and the Triggers. Let me tell you about the most perfect trap ever made, a trap with no chains, no locks, and no alarms. It is made only from your kindness. Have you ever wondered why the narcissist found you, out of all people? It was no accident. An empath gives off a certain feeling that a predator can sense from far away. You walk into a room and you can tell who is sad, who is pretending to be fine, and who needs to be seen. You offer warmth without even knowing it. That is your nature. You were born to help, lift up, and fill the empty spaces in others. But here is the hard truth. Your most beautiful gift is also what made you a target. A narcissist is not looking for love. They are looking for a source of energy, someone they can drain, someone who reflects their fake image. And an empath who is giving, strong, and always ready to forgive is the perfect source. Think back to the start. Be honest. Everything felt perfect, didn't it? They understood you like no one else. They said all the right things. They seemed to share your dreams and feelings. You thought, finally, I have found someone who truly gets me. But that was not real connection. It was a mirror. During the love bombing stage, they watched you, studied you, and then showed back the exact image of what you wanted. They didn't love you. They became a mirror, and you fell in love with your own dream. Once you were hooked, the trap closed. You need to know this about narcissists. They can understand your emotions, but only with their mind, not their heart. They learn your fears, your needs, and your old wounds, but they don't do this to help you. They do it to know where to hurt you. This is the big difference. You feel someone's pain and want to heal it. They see someone's pain and think about how to use it. Why do they pick an empath? Because you have qualities they see as gold. You always try to find good in people. You believe anyone can change if loved enough. You blame yourself when things go wrong, and deep down, you may believe love must be earned by sacrifice. A narcissist can sense that. They know you will stay longer, forgive more, and blame yourself first. To them, you are a safe bet. For a while, things may seem okay. You give, they take, you stay quiet, they push, you shrink, they grow. This can go on for months or even years. So when does the disaster start? When does the mask crack? It starts the moment you stop being a source of supply. You give and give, but one day, maybe because you are tired or maybe because you are waking up, you set a small boundary. You say no. You put yourself first for once. To a healthy person, that is normal. To a narcissist, it is war. Here are the triggers you must know. The first is rejection. When you say no, they don't hear a simple refusal. They hear humiliation. They see it as losing control. The second is any threat to their image. When you question them, catch a lie, or do something that puts attention on you, their fragile ego cracks. The third is withdrawing attention. Their ego is like a bottomless cup. It must always be filled from the outside. When you stop feeding it, the emptiness inside them shows, and they cannot handle that. This is when the mask falls. That perfect partner was never real. It was a show to keep you around as a source. Once you stop giving, the show ends. You might think you caused them to change. You didn't. You did nothing wrong. You just stopped feeding the monster. And now, for the first time, you see its real face. Part 2. Losing everything. When a narcissist doesn't get what they want, they don't get sad like normal people. They don't think about what they did wrong. Instead, they go into a state called narcissistic rage, cold, mean, and shocking. This is when your world starts to fall. The first tool they use is devaluation. Remember when they put you on a pedestal? Now they do the opposite. Slowly, they tear you down. First with small insults, then mean comments, then direct attacks. They mock your looks, your mind, your dreams. They attack the very sensitivity they once said they loved. They do this on purpose. Their goal is to make you feel worthless, so you believe you cannot survive without them. The second tool is gaslighting. Pay close attention here. This is what makes empaths question their own mind. You see something happen, but they look at you and say, "It never did." They say you remembered wrong. They say you are too sensitive, too dramatic, or crazy. And because you are an empath, you look at yourself first. You start to wonder, am I wrong? Am I too much? Day by day, they break your trust in your own reality. And once you stop trusting yourself, they have full control. Then comes blame shifting. Everything they do wrong becomes your fault. They lie, but say you are dishonest. They are cold, but call you uncaring. They take their own darkness and put it on you. You apologize for things you didn't do. You try to fix what you didn't break. You get exhausted fighting a battle you don't understand. They also use isolation. They pull you away from friends and family. They make you doubt the people who love you. They create fights. They make you feel bad for spending time with anyone else. Slowly, your outside world disappears. Only their voice remains. When all that is not enough, they use silence. They go cold. They ignore you. They take away all warmth, leaving you in an empty, confusing space. And because you are an empath who craves connection, you may do anything to end that silence. You apologize, you give in, you drop your boundary, and they win again. They teach you that standing up for yourself leads to being left. Each cycle makes the invisible chain, the trauma bond, stronger. Then comes the discard. After taking everything from you, your energy, your self-worth, your hope, they leave, often in a cruel and cold way, often for someone new. They walk away like you meant nothing, and you are left in the ruins. Look at those ruins. You look in the mirror and don't recognize yourself. You are tired, empty, and older. You lost relationships. You lost self-esteem. You lost trust in yourself. Maybe you lost your job, your money, or your health. And worst of all, you lost yourself. In the dark, you ask, why did I let this happen? How could someone who loved so deeply be used and thrown away? Why did the best parts of me become the reason I was hurt? And there is a special kind of grief. You are mourning someone who is still alive, someone who may never have existed. Part of you knows they were bad for you, but another part still remembers the good moments and wishes they would come back. You are torn. You want to leave, but you also want them to hold you. You hate them, but you miss them. You feel like you are going crazy. You are not crazy. You are in a bond made to feel impossible to break. Know this, staying so long is not a sign of weakness. It is a sign of how deeply you loved. Now feel the weight of this low point. You think this is the end. The empath is beaten, lying in the ashes, unable to rise. But the narcissist just made a fatal mistake, and they don't even know it yet. Part 3. The Rise of the Powerful Empath. This is the one thing no narcissist can plan for. When they push an empath to the edge and take everything, they think they won. But they forgot a universal truth. You cannot threaten someone who has nothing left to lose. Think about this. The narcissist's power over you was always built on one thing, your fear. Fear of being left, fear of not being loved, fear of not being good enough. Every chain they put on you was tied to one of these fears. So what happens when they take away everything you feared losing? What happens when the worst thing already happened? The fear dies. And when fear dies, the chains fall. This is their mistake. In destroying your world, they also destroyed the trap that held you. They put you through the very pain they used to control you. And on the other side, you found a truth. You were still alive. You survived the worst. When you truly see this, something inside you becomes calm, solid, and unmovable. Think of a star at the end of its life. When a star runs out of fuel, it doesn't just fade away. It collapses inward and then explodes in a burst of light so bright it outshines entire galaxies. That is a supernova. And in that death, the star creates valuable things, gold, iron, calcium. You, the empath, are that star. Your collapse was not the end. It was a supernova, and what was made in that fire is the strongest version of you. This is the birth of what I call the Supernova Empath. Your empathy is still there, just as strong as before, but now it has a new purpose. Before, you felt blindly. You felt their pain and tried to heal them. Now, your empathy comes with awareness. The ability to read people, once used against you, is now your radar. You see through fake charm. You spot love bombing early. You detect manipulation from far away. The gift that once made you a target now makes you impossible to catch. And with that comes real boundaries. Not weak ones that break with a few tears or promises. These are strong walls built from your painful experience. Now you can say no without guilt. You can walk away without explaining. You can see their anger without shaking. You survived their worst storm. What can any future storm do to you? And here is the part that drives them crazy. You become indifferent. When they come back, and they often do with apologies and fake tears, You feel almost nothing, not hate, because hate is still a bond, not longing, because you already saw the truth. Only peace. And that peace destroys them. Your anger feeds them. Your tears feed them. Even your pain gives them power. But they cannot feed on indifference. They cannot control peace. When you look at them with calm eyes, you take away their only weapon. But do not think this awakening makes you cold. You don't lose your heart. You just stop giving it to people who don't deserve it. Your heart is still big. But now there is a guard at the door. Your kindness remains. But now it comes from strength, not weakness. This is the goal. Not an empath who gives everything to those who use them, but an empath who sees clearly, protects their soul, and loves without losing themselves. Here is the deepest truth. You spent your life giving, hoping someone would finally see you and stay. But in this supernova, you learn what you always needed to know. The only approval you need is your own. The one who must never leave you is you. The love you searched for outside was inside you all along. You become the witness to your own life. You become the one who heals your wounds. You become the one who loves the pieces you thought were unlovable. And once you see and accept yourself completely, no narcissist, manipulator, or predator can ever reach that place again. Manipulation works only through your fear of the parts of you you keep hidden. But now you have stepped into the light, holding all those parts with love. So remember this. The narcissist did not destroy you. They gave birth to you. They thought they buried a weak empath. But what they put in the ground was a seed. And from everything they took, your innocence, your illusions, your fear, grew a person they can never touch again. This is not the end. This is the first chapter of the person you were always meant to become. Final words. We have come full circle from the trap made of your kindness, through the triggers that broke the mask, down into the abyss where you lost everything, and back up in a magnificent supernova. Look at that journey and see the truth. The narcissist's cruelty created an empath who can never be defeated, so never call yourself weak again. Your sensitivity was never a weakness. It was a power that just needed to find its boundaries. And now it has. If this message touched you, if you have hit rock bottom and found your strength again, leave a comment with these 3 words, I have awakened. And if you want to keep discovering the power still sleeping inside you, subscribe so we can go further together. Because in the end, the question was never whether the darkness would try to break you. It already tried, and it failed. The only question left is, now that you know how powerful you are, what will you do with it?